Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about why complaining is destroying your life. So listen, man, when you complain, when you see the negative in things, when you gossip, talk shit behind people's back, and just overall are like in a negative mind state and projecting that out by complaining, talking shit behind people's back, doing all this, extra gossip and nonsense. You're basically, first off, destroying yourself because you're training your mind. You have something in your mind which is called the something. It's called the RAS. I think it's like the reticular activating system, and basically like that part of your brain. When you speak words, you're training your brain to see that in reality, right? So if you think about, like, let's say you're just, you're at work and you're complaining every day. You don't like your situation, or you're complaining about your boss, or about how people suck at their job, or your family issues, your health issues, your relationship issues. You sit there and you complain about that stuff, right? For minutes on end with whoever, coworkers, anybody really, people who come in, customers, or just you're complaining anywhere. You could be complaining anywhere. You could be complaining on an online forum, for all I know. But the main point the main thing to realize here is that when you do that, you're training your mind to look at reality in a negative light. So you could be at the gym, right, which is supposed to be like a positive, uplifting environment, but because you're always in a negative frame of mind, you're looking at people, you're judging them, or you're like, oh, I'm too tired, oh, I'm this. So you're training your brain to see everything in a negative light. And also what complaining does, another thing that it does, is it makes you feel like a victim, right? Because if you're sitting there, this is mostly like if you're complaining about like a life situation, but if you're sitting there complaining about, oh, I'm not making enough money, oh, I'm not fit enough, I'm just not smart enough, I don't know enough people, whatever. There's a lot of like things you can complain about, make excuses for. You're going to feel powerless, right? So when you do that, you're also training your brain to blame others, to look outside for your problems, rather than introspect. Like, it would be better if you were to just introspect and be honest with yourself. But instead, you choose to blame others, blame your environment, your upbringing, your past, and overall, that is just not a good recipe for success. So yeah, guys, I mean, it really like sucks, because I have people that, I have workers that come in like after my shift's done, and they'll just like start complaining to me, oh, this person did this, I had this happen, and I'm just like, man, I just kind of like nod my head. Like, I don't feed into their bullshit, right? Because here's the thing, when you're complaining or someone else is complaining to you, when you feed into that, and when you start like complaining yourself, you're almost you almost fell into the trap. So by me nodding my head, I'm conscious, I realize what sort of situation I'm in, right? Because here's the thing, you can like, if someone is like complaining or spilling out their beans, or just in a negative mood, and they're displaying that by their speech, and you get involved with that, and then you become negative, that is a very bad recipe for success, right? Because if somebody is complaining to me and they're doing it every single day, and I'm not aware of it, I'm gonna start becoming like them. I'm going to become a complainer myself. And you have to be very careful, because if you're not aware of how it's affecting you, like I've had situations where, one of my workers will come in, they'll complain, and then I'll start complaining, and then like 10 minutes later, I'll just feel drained, right? You ever just like have a negative like conversation with somebody and you feel drained after? They're like energy vampires, right? It's toxic. You have to, if you can't stay away from them, try to just nod your head, ignore them, because eventually they'll stop, right? The more you feed into it, the more you complain, the easier it is for them to generate more negativity, right? So it's like, it's contagious and it builds upon itself, right? When you start becoming, when you feed into that conversation, that negative conversation, it feeds into more negativity, and then you feel more drained, right? So yeah, and also guys, I don't know if you're familiar, but in Proverbs 18:21, it says, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Those that love it reap the fruits thereof. And so basically, that's goes to show you, like, yes, life and death are in the tongue. If you're speaking positivity, right? If you're sharing knowledge with people, like I have a coworker that I work with. Actually, he's actually, we have similar interests, right? Spirituality, success, business, things of that nature. Way we see health, relationships, and I honestly, after I speak with him, I feel very energized. I'm like, wow, somebody actually thinks like me. Where we have life affirmative values and morals, right? We're not just complainers and victims and we're not people who make excuses, right? We don't complain, we don't talk shit about people, right? So our conversations are uplifting. They're not causing us to feel dead inside. We're not draining ourselves by complaining, talking shit, right? So yeah, and also Deepak Chopra, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he said that the average human being on average thinks about 70,000 thoughts per day. Don't ask me how the hell he figured that out, but he concluded that 90% of those thoughts are negative, right? So it goes to show you that we have been programmed to think negatively. And here's the catch, right? Life is a mind game. So the individual who is able to utilize their mind to the best and able to reprogram it for optimal living standards is going to win. And vice versa. If the person who is unable to do that and is unconscious and gossips and complains and makes excuses and talks shit behind people, then life and death are in the power of the tongue. So death awaits them. Not literal death, but the death of their potential, the death of life inside of their body, right? They're gonna feel like just dead inside. These people are dead. They're dead inside. People who complain, people who are toxic, people who are, this goes off the topic here, but people who are addicted to cigarettes and alcohol and just, they're all miserable. These people are dead inside. They're dead. So the main thing to take away here is if you're at a job and you're around these people and you're like, fuck, all my coworkers, they complain, what should I do? The best advice I have for that is just nod your head. When they do it, just nod your head, okay. Because at the end of the day, if you just keep nodding your head and you're like, all right, okay, they're gonna stop eventually. The only reason they continue to go is because either it's because you're feeding into it. No one, for example, I have a coworker that complains, and when I complain, it's easier for both of us to continue that, because that's the vibe of the situation is negativity. It's based off negativity, right? But if you stop doing that, and it's in your control, realize that it's in your control whether you feed into it or not. When you stop doing that, they may complain to you, but they're gonna know, all right, this guy's just, he's too positive. I can't relate to him. I can't relate to him. So they're just gonna be either miserable themselves or they're gonna change. Highly unlikely, but that's who cares if they change or not? It's about you, right? So yeah, guys, I really hope this kind of painted a picture as to why complaining is so destructive, right? And I for the past couple months, you know, there's been times where I've been so unconscious of it. Like people come and they complain to me and I'm like, fuck, why am I doing that? And I notice like that energy sort of like like I carry that energy out after I leave. And when I go into the world, I'm negative too. And I'm like, why the fuck am I like that? There's no reason for it. But this is why. So you have to be very careful, right? And like I said, it's hard to escape it. You know, you can quit your job, you can live by yourself, you can move to the mountains and meditate all day. But here's the thing, man, like that's not optimal for everybody. Everybody can't just quit their job right away, right? So this is how to deal with it. And Darwin actually said that I'm gonna paraphrase it, but Darwin said that the individual who is most able to adapt will thrive. Meaning like the situation may not be optimal. The situation may not be conducive for what you want, but you have to be able to adapt. And so this is, in the sense, how you adapt to a negative environment, let's say, right? Obviously the best, you know, the best like route to take would be to leave. But like I said, not everyone can do it. And the individual who is able to adapt is the individual who will thrive, right? So yeah, I hope that video helped you guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, anything, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.